Slanjivar, everyone. What an exciting week it's been. The first thing we need to do is somebody tell me that you can actually hear my voice on the live stream. So give me a one in the comments if you can hear me. Just wait till somebody gives us a thumbs up and then we'll carry on. Okay. Well, what a week in crypto it's been. It's been a veritable tsunami. Literally, I had to sign some papers in the Cayman Brac Island, and I decided, well, I could just sail there. And so that's what I decided to do. And of course, meanwhile, we have a 8.1 magnitude earthquake causing a tsunami, which gave us an alert whilst we were out at sea for the tsunami alert. But that is not the tsunami that was the problem. The problem was the tsunami that happened on February the 3rd, just last week. And what I'm talking about is the huge amount of money, a virtual tsunami of money that flew out of crypto. There was about $2 billion outflow on the morning of February the 3rd alone. And of course, that all took us by a little bit of surprise because we were all extremely bullish after the inauguration of President Trump, the rearranging of the SEC, the sacking of most of their lawyers. It all looked particularly rosy and we were all expecting a big pump. Well, that never came. And the reason that it never came was because Donald Trump on that morning decided to sign executive orders to introduce tariffs, which is a pretty novel concept, I'm sure. And he was talking about 25% tariffs on Canada, 25% tariffs on Mexico, and 10% tariffs on Beijing. Now, as we know, as soon as he did that, the major leaders of Mexico capitulated because what he was really after was a bit of cooperation on, policing the border to stop the flow of illegal immigrants and, of course, the flow of fentanyl, most of which ends up in my home city of San Francisco, which, so I'm really pleased that he did that. So the Mexicans capitulated, quickly followed by the Canadians, which is hardly surprising because, 25% tariff on their goods is a major, major impact on their economy. Whereas, it's the entire state of California, the GDP of California is in excess of the entire GDP of Canada. So we don't care whether they were to impose tariffs on American goods. What was important was they didn't get the 25% tariffs on their goods. And of course, Donald Trump again played a magnificent hand. But of course, that confused the markets totally. In fact, I'm still confused even now. So that's what happened. There was a veritable confusion in the market. Nobody knew exactly what was going to happen, and everybody panicked, as you saw. I'm particularly taking money out of riskier assets. Excuse the sun, by the way, there's nothing I can do. It is blowing a veritable gale outside, and we're swinging around on the anchor here. So I'm totally dark at the moment. Sorry about that. I'll come live again in a second. Anyway, what is important is those tariffs were subsequently removed the very next day. As soon as the leaders capitulated, those tariffs disappeared, and the markets tended to calm down a little bit. But we have yet to see that $2 billion flow back into crypto, and especially into Pulse Zen. So that's the bad news. The good news is something happened this Friday, which is going to actually change everything for Monday morning. In fact, the pre-opening markets are already booming, including the inflows into crypto. More of that in a minute. Now, first of all, can everybody hear me? Can you put somebody put a one in the chat to make sure that you can actually hear what I'm saying before I carry on? All right, somebody's saying that they can barely hear me, so 1 second, I'll start again. Let's see what's happening with this sound card. Okay, how's that? Any better? Give me one in the chat if you can now hear me. Anyone? Somebody's saying my voice is still low. Anyone else? Anybody else hear me okay or not? Okay, easy way out is saying better with a 1. I think that's about the most that I can do with this sound card. Let's see. Not sure what that is going to do. Okay, how is that? All right, so what I was saying was that the market's totally confused. $2 billion flew out of crypto, yet to return, and that's why all of crypto is down, not just good old Pulse Zen. The other thing that happened is, of course, that Richard Hart, bless him, decided to launch a copy of Pump.Fun. Now, Pump.Fun has been going for about a year, and its main purpose is to suck money out of suckers and to put it in the pockets of developers. There's a whole cabal of people who are running around with millions of dollars in their back pockets. They all talk in a special Telegram group, and they choose a victim of the day. And what happens now is that they will pump the price of any particular coin, and then right when you think you are doing well, the liquidity suddenly dries up, and that's because they rug pulled all the liquidity. Is this going to happen with Richard Hart's little baby? Yes, it will, probably. But here's the secret of Pump.Tires. If I can show you on this screen, let me tell you the secret of Pump.Tires. And it's pretty huge for the ecosphere of Pulse Zen. So here we are, Pump.Tires, and the whole thing here is that we are seeing that every coin that's created on Pump.Tires is actually burning. Oh, sorry. Let me go back to Pump.Tires. It's actually burning Pulse, which has actually changed the game entirely for the Pulse chain ecosphere. Give me 1 second while I get this screen back. Because now Pulse has changed from being a inflationary token to a deflationary token. And the other thing to understand is that when or if coin actually reaches the bonding curve, it then gets promoted to PulseX, and those transactions are going to burn PLSX, PulseX. So overall, although it seems like it was a stupid idea, attracting a whole generation of degenerate gamblers, because at the end of the day, let's face it, all you are doing is gambling on a picture and a clever description. It's not actually real finance. But hey, some people want to do this. And for the ecosphere as a whole, Burning Pulse is terrific. Burning Pulse X is terrific. So we're doing our bit. We have the coin Pump Zen, the whole idea being, of course, that we're burning Pulse. As we burn Pulse, Pulse Zen is also being burnt because Pulse Zen is a deflationary token, which is only going to be good for the entire ecosphere and especially for Pulse Zen. But of course, that doesn't stop you from buying Pulse and Pump Zen on Pump.Tires. So although it's a very stupid thing, it is actually helping the entire ecosystem. I've seen some comments saying how stupid of Richard to launch this, but there is a a reason for his apparent madness. and we are all in on doing that. So I think it's actually terrific, and I think if you have a look at what's happening in the ecosphere itself, you're seeing that the transaction volume into Pulse Chain has increased enormously. And if you have a look at the latest statistics, Pulse has gone up. Well, it hasn't gone up that much today. It's 1.67, but we're approaching half the SAC price, which is better than it was. Pulse X has gone up 4%. Hex has gone up 7%, and Inc 7% as well. So overall, over the last week, the amount of transaction volume has dramatically increased. And of course, that helps everybody, including Pulse Zen, because if you are looking at just the price of Pulse Zen, if you have a look at Dex Screener, for example, one of the most reliable coin sites, you can see here that the transaction volume increased dramatically over the last week, and we've had a pump of about 5% in the last 24 hours. So all in all, this is not a bad thing to happen to Pulse Chain. And it's also not a bad thing that it's working. So, you know, the very fact that it burns Pulse, the very fact that it's going to burn Pulse X, I don't care whether Richard created it or not. I'm pretty sure it's at his behest, or at least it will be something that he knew about. And it is most definitely a good thing overall for the chain. The types of people that are going to be doing that sort of trading, maybe not so much, but we don't care about that. We don't care. What we care about is Pulse suddenly changing from an inflationary coin to a deflationary coin. And that deflation, coupled with our own deflation of Pulse Zen, can only be good for the ecosphere. Now, the other thing that Richard did, which is a little bit more controversial, well, we don't know it's Richard, but we can make some inference. We can certainly never know that it was Richard. And the inference is that a lot of Hex has been staked. Now, the upshot of that is that the average overall percentage interest that stakers, the staker class on Hex, are getting is now about 5.9%, so just a little bit less than 6%. So if you want to lock up your money and you're very confident about the fact that you don't need that money for several years and you can't touch it, then that's the kind of interest rate you're getting at the moment. Conversely, we've done this. This is today's figures. It's quite important that we update this as we see different figures. But this is today, and these are the figures that apply today. So Richard Heart has given us 6%, and I think now we're going to see this kind of thing for Pulse Zen.
The power of Pulse Zen is in the compounding interest code. Let's look at today's numbers. 1 million Pulse Zen at $0.0005. It would cost $500. The daily pay it forward code can average for the year 500 Pulse Zen per 1 million held. So you are making about 25 cents a day, or $91 or so a year. So that works out to a very nice 18.2% a year, no staking, no lockup. However, if we allow ourselves to imagine the growth in Pulse Zen, imagine daily volume increases, and price is 30 cents. Everything looks shockingly different. The daily PIF is now $120 a day, at 30 cents per Pulse Zen. That generates compounding rewards of about $43,800 a year, which is a staggering 1,460% APY. Go see for yourself at pulsezen.app.
Okay, so 6%, 18%. Yeah, I kind of know where I'd like to put my money. Anyway, I digress. The other things that we've done, of course, that you may or may not know about, and if you're a newbie, this isn't going to interest you at all. But for those of you who have been in crypto for a while, PulseZen can also be traded on both chains, both ways. We've created markets where you can pair PulseZen and PulseZen from Pulse Chain on the Ethereum blockchain and vice versa. You can take PulseZen from Ethereum onto Pulse Chain, and there is a already created market. This is not the same as having a copy on Pulse Chain. This means that you can trade one way or the other and impart that economic energy to either chain. This is an extremely unique situation, and it's something that you really should check out a bit more carefully. The other things that we've done, of course, are look at how we could compensate liquidity partners on Ethereum, soon to be available on Pulse Chain as well, depending on various different things. But the very first thing I want to show you is a very fun site where we're showing the holders of PulseZen, the top holders on PulseZen, on Pulse Chain and the Ethereum blockchain, along with some sage advice of how you can progress along the chart. And of
Well,
course,
hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited to bring you today the latest enhancement to the Pulse Zen ecosphere. We said we were going to build a Pulse Zen ranking site, and we have done it. Adhering to our family motto of Esse Qua Medere, it's better to do than to be seen to be doing. And so here it is. We've done what we said we were going to do. We have a Pulse Zen ranking site. You can see here we're actually showing you the top 500 holders on both the Ethereum and Pulse Chain, and then a combined table as well. One of the interesting things that you can see here is that there are buttons that will actually play some kind of audio depending on what ranking you're on. And if I just show you one.
Welcome, disciple. You have reached a great milestone on your journey. Many have tried, and many failed. The secrets to achieving true wealth are number 1, patience, number 2, compounding interest, number 3, discipline. Learn all 3 and be ready to reach the next level of sensei by holding more than 7 million tokens.
Well, fantastic. And the other thing that you can do is, of course, check your own ranking. You can do it manually or you can connect your wallet. And if I show you here what's going to happen, I'll just go to this wallet. Now, once we've connected, you can see that my balance of Pulse on Ethereum is 0. My balance on Pulse Chain is 2,400 or something. And because of that very low figure, we're not actually ranked. It says we're not ranked in the top 500 because we don't have any balance. And so, what does it say?
You've begun the journey as an aspiring Zen Knight. You're part of a growing, supportive community striving for wealth and freedom. Remember, patience, discipline, and smart investing are key. Reach over 500,000 PZen, and you unlock the next step on your path.
Okay, so there we have it. So it's available today. It's up and running. It's live. PZenrankings.com. Go and play with it. Go and have a lot of fun. And thank you very much for listening in.
so there we have it. That's pulsezenrankings.com. pzenrankings.com is the actual URL. And if you have yet not used it, please go and have a try. I mean, obviously, it's been set up as a bit of tongue-in-cheek gamification, but it's for serious finance. And everything that we can do to get adoption of what is undoubtedly one of the best tokenomics out there, out of all the 5 million tokens that have been created so far, 99% of them are going to zero. Where we've always said we took a financial product, recreated it on the blockchain, That is basically compounding interest, but compounding interest on steroids with no lockup and no staking. Why would you not do that? I mean, obviously, we were having a much better time at the beginning where we had over $1 million a day trading, and people seemed to like it. But then came the FUD, the maximum FUD from another community which I was involved in, and they were of such a small-mindedness that they didn't understand that we needed more than one protocol. We needed to have a choice, and we needed to do that. And rather than embracing the fact that other people might want to have a different choice, they decided to try and get us to go away rather than us being part of the Ecosphere, which we are, because at the end of the day, we are a sister code of Hex, which is a great product, but it has definite rules, and those rules may not apply to you. So you need to have choice. And that's all we did. We gave people a choice. And then the very fact that we are a serious financial product, we came up with this.
Okay, so we're talking about Pulse Zen rewards for liquidity providers. And of course, the first thing you'll have to do is be a liquidity provider. So you do that on Uniswap, and you select pool, and you're going to use Pulse Zen and USDC. You're creating your liquidity position in that marketplace. Now, make sure that you have Pulse Zen selected. If it's not showing up, you have to add it to the contract from the Etherscan, which will tell you what the contract address is. And you simply click add, and you'll be a part of liquidity providing fraternity once you've done that. Now, what you're going to do is the Uniswap system gives you Uniswap tokens. And if they're not showing up in your MetaMask wallet like they should do, head over to where the Uniswap pool is, that is the PZen and USDC pair, and you'll get the contract address, which is over here. It ends in 42 alpha, and you will add those to your MetaMask. So those are the tokens that you're going to actually deposit on the Pulse Zen reward site. And here it is. Let me just disconnect this wallet, and then we can see the whole system right from the beginning. So here we are. This is the Pulse Zen rewards. So what are we solving here? Well, the issue is that once you become a liquidity provider on Uniswap, yes, you get your transaction fees, but you lose out a little bit on the fact that you don't get automatically rewarded by holding Pulse Chain in your wallet. That doesn't work that way. So now we are going to make liquidity providers the kingpins of this whole ecosystem, because you are going to be rewarded handsomely as well as getting the transaction fees. So the URL you need to head over to is pulsezenrewards.com, and this is the site. The first thing we need to do is connect our wallet. So we click connect. I'm using a MetaMask wallet at the moment, and we're connected. You can see that up here. Just going to hide the address, of course. This is a test, but nevertheless. And here we have the rewards pools. There are 3 pools that you could possibly choose from, and you can see the details of each pool here. You can see that for locking up your LP tokens for 1 month, you're going to earn a hefty 18% APY. And if that's not good enough, if you lock up your money for 3 months, you lock up your LP tokens for 3 months, you're going to earn 22% APY. And then for those of you who are really professional investors, a 6-month lockup of your LP tokens will give you 25% APY. Now, it's important to note that you're depositing the LP tokens, and the rewards will be given to you in Pulse ZIC, PZIC totals, or the PZINC token, which is the Pulse Zen incentive coin. Now, how does that work? Well, you'll get your percentage in the PZIC coin, which you'll go onto pulsezen.app and add to your MetaMask wallet, so you get the nice little pictures. And then when the time comes to redeem your rewards, you can, of course, keep them and just take the interest. But if you wanted to take the whole shebang, you could actually take your Pulse Zinc and swap it directly for Pulse Zen. And that's how you achieve your 18%. But of course, the whole thing here is to be a long-term holder, actually growing the ecosystem for your long-term benefit. But anyway, there's a trick to withdrawing or claiming. So say we're very happy with what's going on and we don't actually want to withdraw our liquidity tokens, then we can just hit claim reward. Now, it's not going to work here because the money's locked up for 30 days, so it just says the execution is reverted. But by claiming rewards, you'll get the PZIC in your wallet, but the PLP that you previously deposit remains in the system without you having to re-enter the LP tokens, and it can just keep generating you income as long as you like. But if you are starting off on the 1 month system, you can withdraw and start again on the 3 or maybe 6 month system if you want to do it that way. There are some other things on the page. This is your activity. This shows you what you've done. And here we have the Ecosphere. These are contracts that you might want to use. And over here we've got the shopping, which is coming soon for merchandise. This is the PulseZen app website. This is the link to the contract for PZen, just so you can double check on the Ethereum chain. This is the PulseZen contract on Pulse chain. Over here is the PZIC ETH contract, which is the only one that you're interested in the moment because the liquidity providers are PulseZen and USDC on the Ethereum blockchain. Later on, we'll maybe have the Pulse chain. Here we have PulseZen from Pulse chain. And here we have PulseZen from Ethereum. Don't forget this magnificent system where you can impart value on both chains by continually swapping between two chains. I'm not just talking about bridging. There's actually marketplaces on either chain for the comparative PulseZen from Pulse chain and PulseZen from Ethereum. It's a fantastic system, which a lot of you don't realize is actually there. There's just a little bit of an introduction video, and then, of course, the latest price chart of PulseZen to USDC. So there we have it. In a nutshell, this is the fabulous PulseZen rewards system. It's open. If you can see this video, it's available for you right now. Remember, you have to be a liquidity provider on Uniswap in the PulseZen USDC pairing. Bring over those tokens, put them in your wallet if you haven't got them already, and then bring them over to the PulseZen reward system. It's very likely that it'll be a very small number, and you can see here that somebody's actually deposited 0.6 and a 1 of your Uniswap tokens. And this is because of the Uniswap system. They actually throw out very small numbers for their liquidity positions, unless you happen to own a lot of liquidity, of course. And that's it. That's the introduction. This is a fantastic reward system that was previously in the cupboard. We brought it out because people may want to use it. And of course, what is this going to do? It's going to grow the entire ecosystem for everybody and everybody that's involved. So it just keeps rolling on and rolling on and rolling on. This, again, is a system that is going to last now forever. It's built on the blockchain. Contract is already up. The contract, of course, has been audited, and you can see the audit later on. And then we have it. An amazing system. One of the things that I found in the cupboard, there are some more things in the cupboard that I think you might be interested in coming forward in the next few months. One of them, I know you'll be interested in to know whether we're going to be launching on Pulse Chain. And the answer to that is maybe. There are some issues with Pulse Chain, remarkably, that we did not anticipate. And so therefore, we're doing it on Ethereum because Ethereum is the most widely known chain. If you ask anybody who's involved in crypto, apart from those in the know, nobody has even heard of Pulse Chain. And of course, with all the debacle going on, it may be not the idea to launch right this moment in time. But on Ethereum, the well-established chain that we are also part of, that's why we are launching here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know that you've seen that before, for those of you who've been for a while. For those of you just joining who don't really understand what PulseZen is all about, we are the best code that is out there for both Ethereum and Pulse Chain. The major thing that's missing, of course, is adoption. And look, we've been up against it right from the get-go. We were completely ghosted, excuse me. Not only that, we were gate kept. Not only that, our own communities were flooding us out because they didn't understand what we were all about. No staking, no lockup. You keep control of your money. All you have to do is buy and hold. Do we need more adoption? Of course we do. Do we want to see the price pump? Of course we do. That's why we're all here. We're all here to make money. That is the whole point. And right now, the market couldn't be more wrong. Look at all these guys that have sold to pull out of PulseZen to go into their gamble that is Pump.Ties. Pump.Ties is an absolute joke. Richard Hart even said so. But he knew, he understands the psychology of people who are looking at using crypto as a gambling game and using crypto as a lottery ticket. It isn't actually like that. And of course, he doesn't care. All he did was make sure that, well, if you people want to play these silly games, you're going to make it work for me, for you and us by burning Pulse and by burning PulseX. So on that front, that is absolutely fantastic. But for those people that sold PulseZen, for example, to gamble on anything on Pump.Tires, you are wasting your time. It is literally a lottery ticket. You, unless you are a very experienced person and you're in the know and you know what's going to happen, how are you going to ever sell out ahead of the guy who really knows what's about to happen? How are you going to sell out against and front run all these cabals who know what they're doing? They've seen Pump.Fun. They know what Pump.Ties is all about. You don't think they're going to actually do the same thing? They will. So eventually that money is going to flow back in to crypto and into PulseZen. The $2 billion that was liquidated and the outflows is going to flow back into DeFi, and hopefully some of it is going to be into PZen. The other thing that we are up against is the fact that we need to be in the American market. We are not in the American market right now. And in fact, the site at the moment isn't even accessible to Americans. That is about to change tomorrow. From tomorrow, anybody who wants to buy PulseZen worldwide will do so. And tomorrow is going to be a very interesting day. But more of that in a minute. One of the things that we find with people who are interested in cryptocurrency, they just do the easiest thing to them. For example, most Europeans, mostly in the UK, they're using, for example, an app called Revolut. What does Revolut do? Well, it charges you an absolute arm and a leg to buy and sell crypto, but it's linked to your bank account. It is so simple. If you want to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, you press a button, there's your Bitcoin or Ethereum bought or sold, albeit at not the most advantageous price, albeit you actually paying Revolut huge commissions, but you don't care about that because you think this is the way to buy and sell crypto because it's easy. You don't want to go to the extra step of finding out what is DeFi all about, what's a wallet all about, what's all this self-custody business. You're not interested in that. You're just interested. You know that crypto is the highest appreciating asset class and you want the easiest way in. You don't want to study the fact that you're never going to make wealth on Bitcoin or even Ethereum. You don't really want to know about all these other coins. You are just there to gamble. But that is not what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. We need legitimate DeFi finance. We need to educate the public that holding your own crypto with your own private keys, self-custody, is absolutely key to winning this game. And we're not winning the game, we're losing it because normies people who've never been to crypto before, who are now getting into crypto, want the easiest path possible. They don't want to engage their brains. They don't want to think about it. But they're the ones that are losing out. You, on the other hand, took the time, trouble, and effort to learn a little bit more, an extra step, which makes you a superhero as far as gaining wealth on cryptocurrency. But let me explain one thing. How do you get into Pulse Zen on Pulse Chain or even Ethereum? Well, it's 2 clicks. It's 2 steps. Let me explain a little bit further. We have a site called pzen.digital. pzen.digital. Let me show this to you now. pzen.digital. And if I can show you exactly how this is going to work, this will blow your mind. So it's not very easy to show you. Just let me get this here. Bear with me. So pzen.digital. You would send your friends or even yourself to pzen.digital, and this is going to blow your mind. So pzen.digital, you come onto the stepper, as it's called. You will use your credit card and you will send USDC from your credit card. You can buy USDC and you can exchange it for Pulse directly on pzen.digital. Okay, you have to fill in some forms. The maximum amount is 336 USDC. This will show you the exchange rate. We're going to get just under 1.9 million Pulse, and it takes about 5 minutes. That's pzen.digital. Step number 1. Obviously, you have to create a wallet in the first place. Then, what you need to do is go over to app.proteus.io and you take the Pulse that is now located in your wallet and you swap it for Pulse Zen. Now, the great thing about Proteus is that they will actually find the best routing and the best price for you. In some controversy about whether they do or not, but I can tell you 9 times out of 10 they do. You will eventually get a price for Pulse Zen. Now, of course, because of the way that we're working the protocol, 2% needs to be deducted from the total that you're buying. So you need to set the slippage to at least 4% or maybe a little bit above to make sure that the transaction goes through. But look here on Pulse Chain, it costs 22 cents. 22 cents to buy Pulse Zen on Pulse Chain. And of course, you can use Uniswap if you want on Ethereum. You know, the major changes that are going on in Ethereum at the moment, we are definitely going to see eventually parity on both chains because the dynamics of both chains are going to put them in sync eventually. So we are living in very exciting times. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And just to wrap up here, because I know I've been prattling on long enough, we need adoption. We need the price to pump. We want to be at the forefront of DeFi, and we can't do that unless people know about Pulse Zen. And it's up to me and you to tell as many people and explain to as many people as possible what Pulse Zen is all about. And simply show them. They have to have a wallet. They have to understand self-custody. They have to understand a hardware device, a ledger or a Trezor, to keep themselves safe. It is an extra burden. It's an extra step for them. But the benefits far outweigh the simplicity of using an app like Revolut. And this is going to be the challenge for this year, is people are going to get into crypto. There's going to be a tidal wave of retail into crypto. But we just have to make sure that they understand that DeFi is the way forward. You need to cut out the middleman. You have to choose to run the code. You have to self-custody, just like you do with a bank account. Very, very important. And we'll get there by constant communication. That's the way it's going to go. Now, lastly, if you haven't heard already, the markets are probably going to pump like crazy tomorrow morning if they haven't already. And the reason is that the Federal Reserve Bank published, I think Thursday or Friday last week, exactly, they actually signaled what exactly they are about to do. Let me just show you. Let me just talk about this. This is absolutely unbelievable. I wonder if I can actually show you um, the actual report. 1 second. Let's see if I can actually pull that up. We may or may not be able to do this because it's a whole sort of thing, but I don't know. Anyway, you can go and look for it online. I'll leave a link to it. This is the latest monetary policy report as issued by the Federal Reserve Bank. And if you don't know, they're the one that controls the money in the United States, which is a very large chunk. And so here's what they're doing. The first thing is, you probably know that everything is a perfect storm for PulseZen's growth. The Fed's policies are creating the most bullish outlook for crypto and DeFi that there has ever been in the whole history of DeFi. Number one, they're lowering the interest rates. That means more capital flowing into crypto and, of course, PulseZen. Why is that? Because if you are an investor and you can't get the interest rate that you want through a more safe means, you are going to broaden your horizons. And DeFi, as you know, is the highest appreciating asset class that there is. And of course, that's why money is going to throw into DeFi. They're also controlling the liquidity. They're tightening. And when they do that, when they sort of like tighten, they're actually preventing financial instability, which will again allow DeFi to thrive. The reason that they're stating that they're lowering the interest rate is because inflation is coming back under control. It was 7% according to the actual published figures. They reckon now it's about 2.6%, much nearer their target of 2%, which means that there's going to be more money in the market. And that's not just the Fed. We are looking at global rate cuts, which means that more international investors will be entering DeFi platforms. And also some of those are going to be investing in the future of Pulse Zen. So when this report is read over this weekend, the markets, I predict on Monday morning, are going to go ballistic. Because the other thing that's going on is because of all this talk, the US dollar is strengthening. China and Europe are implementing stimulus measures, i.e. they're printing more money. And the United States government under the Federal Reserve's regime has said that they're going to introduce quantitative easing by the 1st of June this year. They're actually signaling that they're going to pump a load of money into the economy. This could not be more bullish. And this is going to happen first thing tomorrow morning. So if you're into stocks, you should also look forward to a bonanza from Monday morning onwards. But of course, we all know that the highest appreciating asset class is cryptocurrency. And the markets have got it so wrong at the moment. There is also on the horizon the settling of the court case involving Richard Heart and Pulse Chain. And by that, I mean, it may or may not be dismissed under the grounds of jurisdiction. However, let's say that the judge thinks that the SEC actually did have something to prove. She may allow the case to continue. But we all know the outcome of that case will be at the very end. It'll either be a settlement, which is the most likely thing, or it will be a fine. But the one thing and the most important thing is, meanwhile, all the other dynamics, all the other economic energy is still going to happen. It doesn't matter about the court case. Pulse chain is still what it is. People are building on Pulse chain. People are recognizing what's happening with Pulse chain. We're building on Pulse chain, and we have one of the best protocols that's on there. So the future is looking bright. You have to take a wider view. I mean, look at the price of Hex, for example. It has fallen off a chair. We know that the price has gone down by 98%. Pulse price has also gone down remarkably. Maybe not as much, but it has gone down as well. What do you think is going to happen from now on in? When people realize, when things are looking much brighter, much rosier, all the things that we said were going to happen if Trump got reelected will eventually happen. It's just a matter of people do not like uncertainty. Like right now, people do not like the uncertainty of what's going to happen with the court case about Pulse chain. They don't like it. But either way, if the case continues or if the case gets dismissed, immediately there'll be euphoria. But if the case doesn't get dismissed, people will realize that it's just a sideshow to the actual running of the code. So either way, it's going to make it more stable because the outcome is going to be more predictable, and that is the most important thing that people have lost sight of. It's not about the case being dismissed or not. It's about the perception of the chain, not the perception of Richard Heart, because the rest of it is up to us. It's up to people like me, and at the end of the day, you, because you are the guys and girls that want to get wealthy. And you have to choose one horse and bet your life on it, because unless you are already wealthy, you cannot afford to diversify. That is that. So as the sun sets over the horizon, we're looking forward to a very bright future starting from tomorrow. And just to finish off, let me see if there are any burning comments from here. Here we go. Oh, a few comments. So Zurich Zenak says, thanks for all you do and have done, Conrad. Know that you're appreciated. It's time for the PZen pendulum to swing the other way. All on PZen, we're all here for a reason. Yeah. And the reason is we all want to become wealthy. Crypto Trucker has been saying, you can barely hear me. Hope you can hear me now. Anybody else? CB says apparently it's not Richard. Well, we're never going to know whether it was him or not that created Pump.ties. I certainly don't care who did it because the end result is that it's doing what it should do. Okay, Alt Season says that there has been zero growth in PulseZen since it launched. Well, that's not true, is it? If you have a look at how many holders, if you look at the price, if you look at the volume since the day it launched on both Ethereum and Pulse Chain, there has. What is missing right now is that the price is down substantially. Only reason that that is so is because people are selling more than they are buying. That is how the markets work. And let me tell you, sometimes the markets get it very, very wrong. Another encouraging from Alan X says Zen to the moon. Well, yes, we won't see any of that just now, but we'll certainly see the price changing. Too much liquidity thinly spread amongst too much garbage, which equals no alt season. Many coins will go to zero. Joke as well. I agree with you entirely. In fact, you know, out of the 5 million coins that have been created, most of them within the last 6 months, just looking statistically, a good 80% of them will be rug pulled and the price will go to zero. So you're in with a chance for the other 20%, but not much of one. So why gamble? Just pick a financial product, PulseZen, that actually works, compounding interest, just by holding it in your wallet. How can you choose anything else? Pumpkin LP-Zen is a high-class protocol. It's highly efficient and it automates interest compounding. Fabulous. Pumpkin Owl, you got it in one. Now we just need to communicate that message to thousands of others. Another question from Alt Season. How can liquidated money flow back in? It's gone. Does money disappear ever? Where did it get liquidated to? Who got it? Didn't disappear into thin air. But I know what you mean. It's money is circular. Wealth is circular, and the amount of wealth in the world is infinite. I mean, right now, if I look out the window, I don't know whether you can see, it's getting dark. There are two yachts that are parked behind me, and one is called Joy. You can look it up. He's an Indian guy, an Indian construction guy. I know for a fact that he paid $90 million for that yacht. And the one over there, which I can't name, is worth about $400 million. So there's no shortage of wealth. It's just a matter of backing something to the hilt, and we can see this coming. Voice is low again. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is a new laptop, so I haven't got it actually set up. Don't know. So there we are, guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. I didn't really prepare for this broadcast today because we were pretty busy over the last 48 hours getting away from what we perceived might be a tsunami into, again, horrendous. I don't know what's going on with the weather, but the winds this year have been horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. I've never seen winds continue in the Caribbean area this strong for so long, ever. So something weird is definitely happening with the weather. So I'll leave it over to you, to the global warming theorists. Okay, I've gone on long enough. Thank you very much for joining. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Conrad Zen, a former Bitcoin Foundation member, been in crypto a while, and now promoter of the best DeFi protocol that is out there on Ethereum and Pulse Chain. And the thing is, the takeaway from this is that the future looks extremely bright. Everything is a perfect storm for DeFi, and in particular, Pulse Zen. So until next time, and there'll be a next time very, very shortly, I will say, Slanjivar, go and do your own research, go and do your own homework. There is more to come. There's going to be more protocols, there's going to be more software, which is going to help you out, and we're all going to have a fantastic time. So thank you very much, and a very good evening, good morning, and I will see you in the next broadcast. Thank you so much.